Awesome. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Christiane. So as Justin said, I'm Patrick McLellan, the product manager over FDC and our survey accessory lines. Today, what we're going to try to get accomplished is, how do we optimize FDC and one of its flagship features, which is the maps, right? In our Allegro legacy software, we did a lot of things through list views and things of that nature. And in the FDC line, we were able to expand that to be able to show your sites for your survey geographically on maps. So that helps your survey experience be a little bit more efficient and effective. So the use case kind of want to walk through today to kind of show you how to do that and optimize your experience is, we want to be able to send our facilities with the correct data in the right amount of in the right fields in an efficient order to FDC. So when you're out there surveying, you can use our mapping and navigation features to really help expand your survey experience. So a high level, and just as a prequel here, I'm going to kind of go through these slides pretty quickly, but we're going to have a PDF of this. So as a quick reference after the virtual brew, y'all can reference back, have these as a quick reference. They're like, hey, he said something like this, but you'll have slides to kind of look back. So some of the things we're going to cover is how to set up your data and fields in PCS so that you can actually make sure that your sites correctly display on the maps in Survey Manager as well in FDC. We're going to highlight key features in the maps on FDC that allows you to really see your facilities, navigate to them, and make your inspection work seamless. And then we're going to talk about some navigation features that are kind of nice bonus features on how to navigate efficiently to your assets and locate them while you're in the field. We'll end with a quick Q&A if anybody has any questions, but we'll kind of hold those questions till the end. So again, these are the quick reference slides. For PCS, we're going to talk about, what fields are important that you really want to have data populated for, what they mean, and kind of make sure you have your GPS fields as well. We're going to talk about how to set up your prompts, which is your surveys. Those are the fields that go in your surveys and make sure that we have our set up correctly so that when you get to the field data collection app, you have everything you need to be able to utilize the maps. Then we're going to talk about moving your data to Survey Manager, how we can effectively create custom routes to effectively, efficiently get your surveys to your field data collection app in a way that makes sense on how you're going to survey. Then we're going to kind of go into a deep dive of the features of FDC. So we're going to talk about what all these icons mean on the screen and how to use them. We're going to talk about just certain key features about what you're looking at on the map, what your sites look like, data that's represented on the map, and how you can kind of navigate through either keypad or your touch with your fingers to either zoom, pinch, and navigate through the map features. And then we're going to talk about, again, at the very end about navigation. And this kind of helps you find and get to your locations effectively, and then also be able to locate them once you're on site. Those two features are going to be our bearing the distance and our turn-by-turn directions. And we'll kind of end with that before we go into Q&A. So at that point, I'm going to kind of switch over to some screens, and we're going to kind of walk through what this process looks like. So first step is we got to make sure we have the right data in PCS. So I'm going to bring PCS over. So what I have showing right now is this is your CPDM data grid. So this is just showing you we're on the info screen for the test point. And what I'm highlighting here is there's key features that are your facility information features. And this allows you to find your assets in the field, make sure you know where you're at and what you're looking for. Some key things that we really want to make sure is these black fields, these are facility level common fields. So they're going to be fields that are available for every facility type that you have in PCS. So these fields, you want to make sure, I have them ordered in a way it's really easy and convenient for me to see. So I make sure, your bro code and pipe, your milepost, location, description, and address. If you're transmission or distribution, you may be leaning more on your address type fields versus your right-of-way codes and pipes. So I like to put them all up there to make sure that I have the correct data populated so that when I'm in the field, I know how to find my assets. The other thing that's really key here is your elevation, your latitude, and your longitude fields. Those are where you're going to populate your GPS coordinates, whether you already captured them in the field on FDC or you've entered them manually through a bridge import or through the grid. One thing that I like to make before I send my surveys out is just kind of do a quick peruse and make sure, hey, am I missing any GPS? And you can kind of see on this one right here on this very top of this grid, there's two assets that don't have GPS. You have a couple options. You can either, if you know that GPS location, you can enter them here, or you can also just go ahead and capture those fields while you're in the field with your GPS capture on FDC. So gives you some options, but just wanted to highlight those are really important fields to make sure you have in your grid and you have data for. Now, once you know that you have the right fields and you know what you're looking for, you're going to want to go over and set up your field data computer prompts. And the prompts are the fields that are actually going to be included in the survey file. So now that we have the data right, you're going to go to your field computer send option, and then you're going to go to customize. And this is really key. You're going to click on prompts. And on prompts, what you're doing here is you're selecting for each facility type that you have access to. You're going to select which prompts or which fields from your PCS application you want to go and be included in the survey. So there's some very key features here that we need to make sure we set up so that maps will be utilized correctly once we get to FDC. First and foremost, this top section is your information fields. This is kind of what I highlighted in the information grid previously. You want to make sure that you add the same fields, your row code, your milepost, your location description, and your address. Those allows you to find your assets in the field. These fields will also be kind of used in this site list setup we'll talk about in just a second, and that is fields that are called showcase fields, and we'll get to that. You also want to make sure, and this is extremely key, that these elevation, latitude, and longitude field are added to this info section, again, for every single facility type. And the reason being is these right here allow the facilities to be displayed on the maps. If they're missing, then that facility type won't be displayed when you get to FDC on the maps. The other thing you want to make sure is this site list section of the prompt theme. And what this does is this becomes your showcase fields. And showcase fields are really important in FDC. What they allow you to do is they populate your information data to be able to find the asset, but they're also used to populate the site pin cards, so the information that pops up when you're on the map, as well as at the top of the inspection page when you're actually doing your inspection. You're allowed to have a quick reference of what assets you're at, so you know that you're on the right site while you're doing your survey or doing your inspection work. So the other thing that you want to know about this is when you go in and you add these fields, you're only going to be able to add these common to all fields. And the reason being that is we want to pick fields that are going to display across all of your asset types, whether it's a rectifier, or a test point, or a leak, whatever it may be. These are the types of fields that will be displayed on those common showcase fields across all of your assets in your survey. And the other thing that we want to make sure that we do and that you do and you're really careful about is these top three are what's going to be shown on your showcase pins on the areas I just talked about. And you want to really define those in an order in which you want to see them. So, you know, your top three, you want to order them from 1, 2, and 3 so that they're visually displayed in the order you're expecting to see them when you get onto the field data collection app. So in my case, I've got row code and pipe, milepost, and facility ID. So now that we have all of that set up correctly, we're going to go ahead and save this. I didn't make any changes, so there's no need to save. We're going to close this prompt theme. And now what we're going to do here is we're going to select send to cloud. I'm going to select just test points and rectifiers for this demo. And then I'm going to add one previous history record to make sure I can send history over. Then I'm going to load the data grid. And from here, I'm going to say these are the assets when this loads of what I want to send over to Survey Manager so that I could create my custom routes and send those to the Field Data Collector app. So we've got test points and rectifiers loaded in the grid. I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And it's going to go ahead and build a survey, and then it's going to send it through the cloud to Survey Manager. Once that's complete, I'm going to bring Survey Manager over to view. And so now I'm on Survey Manager. I'm under Facility Survey. I'm under my company. My survey type is Facility. And you're going to hit this little plus sign. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up the way you import from the cloud. So we're going to get this test point that I just sent over. It's already got your history records included, so you can choose to include them or not. And then I'm going to upload that data that I just sent from PCS over to, I'm going to actually continue to let it import into Survey Manager. So once it's in Survey Manager, there was a duplicate name, so it went ahead and added a new one. I'm going to go ahead and select on that. And now what you're going to see is this test point and a rectifier survey they just sent from PCS is all included and sent up to Survey Manager. The key thing that's also a nice little feature is the maps you're seeing on Survey Manager is a map box control, and that's where we're using our mapping utility from. It's the same mapping utility that we're using on FDC. So what you see in Survey Manager is what you're going to see when you get to FDC. So when you're trying to figure out what I need to send to the field and what work I need to be, I want to do, and maybe I want to send a custom route, I send everything up, but I know this week I'm only going to be in this specific area. So a nice feature to be able to do this is you can go ahead and zoom in on the map. And there's a couple ways to do this. You can use this little polygon drawing tool, which is what I like to do, or you can do, select your Alt button on your keyboard and do a highlight, and you can select the surveys to build a custom route. So if you want to say like, I'm only going to be in this area, right? And I know that this is what I need to take care of for this week or today, I can go ahead and build a custom survey on the route I want to do and send it over to FDC, and I can do that all from the map. So we're going to kind of demo that. So I'm going to select this polygon tool, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a polygon around these assets. And then when I click back to that starting point, it's going to select everything that I highlighted. And then on this map, you're going to see a couple options over here, this little folder checkbox. And what this is going to say is this is what I want to add down to my groupings. And what these groupings become is your survey. That's what you're going to assign to your text or yourself. And that's what's going to actually be sent over to the mobile device. So we're going to go ahead and add those to the group. It's going to populate everything. And now everything on here, you'll notice it's on the map. So it's going to have GPS. So one thing I want to show you is I'm also going to add through the grid, which you can do as well, is you can control and add additional sites, and you can do a right click and say, I want to also add these to my group selection. So I've added a couple extra test points in to my group. Now, what you're going to do now is you've got everything the way you want it. If you need to add anything else or make changes, you can. And then you're going to go ahead and hit the save icon, and we're going to call this VB demo, which is a Virtual Brew demo. And I'm going to go ahead and create that group. And so what it's doing is it's building those into a survey file, and it's in a staging set status. And so at that point, you're going to click this little icon over here, and that allows you to select what tech or user you want to send this survey out to FDC. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my name, and we're going to assign it to myself. And now as that is in progress, I'm going to move over my FDC application. So I'm in periodic survey right now, and I'm loading my survey grid, and now you'll see this VB-demo just showed up, right? So this is saying I just got it downloaded. My device is connected to the network, have internet connectivity, and it pulled that survey down from Survey Manager. So it's got this cloud icon. This cloud icon allows me to know that it's there and staged, and it's ready to be downloaded to the device. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to download. You have a nice little loading indicator, lets you know that it's completed. And now we're ready to jump into the survey. I'm going to expand this in just a second. So when you land on this, you're going to see that you land on your site list, and there's some navigation at the bottom. And what we're really going to talk about today, excuse me, is the site map. And this allows you to access the map. So one thing that is pretty cool is that if you look at on Survey Manager, we created this survey. And if you also look at FDC, it's going to look the same. So your look and feel of what you set up in Survey Manager and what you set up in FDC is very consistent. So let's go ahead and maximize this so we can really focus in on FDC. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and these are all in the slides, is what are we looking at on the map? So the first things you want to kind of see is when you load the map, we want to know what are these icons at the top. So this kind of square looking icon up in the upper left-hand corner, what that does is that'll zoom the map out. And I'll give you an example. I'll zoom way out. And I want to be like, oh, I just want to see everything at a bird's eye view of what my survey is. So I can kind of get a mental, viewpoint of where I need to be and what I need to do. So I'll go ahead and click that icon. And what it does is it zooms the map in to include all your facility assets that are in view that you've sent in that survey. So this allows you to kind of see what my work's going to be and where I need to go. Well, the other thing I need to see is where I'm at. So I'm a long ways away. I'm up in the middle of nowhere. So I zoomed out, and now it's going to find my current location. So again, it helps you find quickly where you are on the map in relation to where your assets are. So we're going to go back to the zoom to extent. So the one thing I do want to point out is there's a couple ways we can navigate. So you can, when you select a pin, this is your pins right here. These are all your survey sites in the survey. When you click on a pin, it's going to open up a flyout card, and that's called a site pin card. And what that does is it tells you what type of facility is. This little test point is an indication it's a test point. What that data is. So these showcase fields is I defined my row code and pipe. I defined my milepost, and if I had a facility ID, it would be displayed right there. This little arrow allows you to quick and effectively to jump right into your survey and land on your inspection page. So as soon as you're at your site, you touch that site pin, you jump right into your inspection page. And again, this is the showcase field section I was referencing. That row code, milepost, and location description are being displayed so that you can see what asset you're on while you're doing your inspection. So real quick reference, make sure you're at the right place before you enter your inspections. You can also jump right back to the site map, and you're back on the same pin. And another nice thing about this is the site list and the site map are synced. So I'm on site 1, it has it highlighted there. I'm on site 1 on the map, it has it highlighted there. So depending on what view you want to use, you always know you're going to be on the right focus depending on which function or tab you're on, whether it's the site list or the site map. So we are going to talk about this last icon, excuse me, on the map is what is this diamond with the number of 2 in it? So you remember on Survey Manager, I selected those 2 additional points. Those did not have GPS coordinates. And I also referenced those in PCS, and those in PCS were, hey, I didn't have data. So what this tells the user is I'm looking at what I have on the map, but I'm also looking at that 2 of my sites in the survey are not being displayed because they didn't have GPS coordinates populated. So what this means is you got 2 there. When you go to the site list, you're going to see any site that doesn't have GPS coordinates, meaning it's not populated on the map, it's going to have this little diamond icon. That allows the user, when they're saying, hey, what sites do I need to update coordinates for while I'm in the field? A quick and easy reference to be able to say, hey, when I get to this site, I need to make sure that I go ahead and shoot my coordinates. So we'll jump into that site real quick. And how to do that is you're going to land on your inspection page and you're going to change to your information page. And this little GPS icon, you're going to go ahead and click that. When you hit capture, it's going to capture your current location. So you want to make sure you do that while you're at the asset. So you're getting the closest coordinate capture to where that asset's actually located. So we'll go ahead and save that. And then when we go back to the map, you're going to notice that this incrementation went down. I've now taken care of one of those things that are not being displayed on the map, and I'm able to quickly and effectively update that while I'm in the field. It just updated that site pin to my location. So, that's what it will do. So you want to make sure you're really close to that asset when you capture those coordinates. Now, when I zoom to extent, you're going to see that it's going to load the map, and it's going to have all of these things plus this new one that's way up in the middle of no man's land. Another cool feature of the map is you can also rotate it. And if you wanted to look at your orientation, you can change that. And then if you wanted to realign with true north, you can click this little compass icon and it'll align the map to true north. So depending on where you're standing or which way you're navigating your survey, you can always find out which way is true north very quickly and address it that way. One other thing I would like to talk about too is, hey, I'm at this and we're going to go back into this site. And you'll notice something right here. I went into this test point and it's blue. Why is it blue? Well, I updated my coordinates. So it means I've visited that site, but I haven't met all my criteria to actually get it surveyed and meet the surveyed indicator criteria, which means I've met my surveyed criteria. When you do that, it'll turn green. The nice thing on this map is it will show you visually where you are and what status of all your surveys are at a quick reference. So like all of these I have not visited, so they're white. If I had visited them, but I didn't meet criteria, they would be blue. So you have a quick reference there, and anything that's surveyed would be green. So you can look at a map very quickly and see, hey, these are exactly what I need to do or where I've been and what I haven't completed. The same indicators will be on your site list as well as they will be on the site itself. So you always have a good indication of where you've been, what you've done, and what you need to do to complete surveys. So helps you to efficiently and effectively survey through your application or through your survey while you're in the field. Now, these 2 icons are really cool. So what it allows you to do is, great, we have maps and yeah, I can see everything, but how do I get to these locations? So this turn-by-turn directions, this little icon with a little, looks like a little direction arrow. When you click that, and I'll go back to a site that's a little bit farther from me so it'll show a better example. I can go ahead and click on this right here. And it'll jump me to my native mapping control that's built in on my device, or open a web browser to Google, and it'll give you turn-by-turn directions. So it'd say, hey, I don't know how to get there. I've never been there before, maybe. It'll take you right to it and let you have, the most efficient ways to drive by turn-by-turn directions to get to your assets. So that's a pretty nice little feature. We're going to jump back into PCS, so you can just use that little icon. It's Android, or your little double click on iOS and switch windows, and we're going to jump back into FDC. And once you get to that asset, we're going to go back to the one I just set coordinates. Say I'm in the field and I'm by my map and I know I'm at the right gate of this right of way, but I don't know which way to walk. When you click on this site pin, you can click this little compass arrow. What this does is it'll give you a bearing to distance on which way to walk on cardinal directions and how far you are in either footage or in metric meters, depending on what you want to view it as. It'll show your current location and where you're getting your GPS source from, and then it'll show you the current GPS of your asset. And the nice thing is this continually live updates. So as you're walking, if you go the wrong way, you'll see the numbers get higher, and you can really quickly change your direction and find your asset really easily in the field. So comboing those navigation features together in the bearing the distance and turn-by-turn directions will really help you find your assets in the field quickly and effectively. I know I talk fast, and I know that we covered a lot, but this was really, just an overview demo of how you want to set up your data why things are important, what you want to really key in on the map, and how you can use the map to really help be efficient in the field. Again, I know we're kind of running close on time, but I wanted to leave it open for, just a couple questions. Any feedback that you might have on the maps themselves or on the navigation features. I'm going to open it up to the group now. Let's see.
And since we have a couple of minutes for questions, feel free to either unmute yourself if you want to talk, if that's easier than typing, or just type it on the chat and we'll get to your questions.
Let's see. Let's see. I don't see
one question pop up asking, what devices does this work with?
Gotcha. So there's this works on our Mesa T3 Android device. It works on iOS iPads, Minis, Airs, general iPads, and it works on in the future it'll be on Windows as well on our Mesa T4 line.
So if we're just talking about the maps and can you utilize these features, it's essentially any device you're using this application on, you have these features capable. So
Yep.
This isn't a hardware specific. This is simply making sure that you're using the FDC software. So this is a standard feature set in all iOS, Windows, Android.
That's right.
Whatever you're using, you have the same functionality.
Yeah, and to Justin's comment in the chat, yes, for using turn-by-turn directions, you will need to have internet or Wi-Fi or cell SIM connectivity to the internet so that it can jump out and actually map that. So that won't be something that'll be in the offline feature. But the one thing to note on this maps as well is once you load your surveys and you have network connectivity, the best thing to do is to go ahead and go to your maps while you're on internet service and load your map tiles. And then once you're out in the field and you're offline, those tiles will be available in an offline mode. So you won't need internet or Wi-Fi connectivity when you're in the field, as long as you had kind of looked at your maps before you got off connectivity. And that way you'll have all access to the map tiles, just like you did while you were connected to Wi-Fi or cell SIM. Let's see if there's any more in the comments.
So one of the questions was, where do you access the manager screen? So setting up and sending all of your surveys to the hardware devices is through our PCS Survey Manager, which is a cloud-based module of PCS. So if you're currently using PCS, you're not using Survey Manager, which is the wireless syncing component. It's also where you can manage your CI, kind of ECDA related data. This is where you're seeing this management screen. So this is called PCS Survey Manager. But could maybe, Christiane, if you could drop a link to the data sheets and the location, so that way we can answer that question for Eric. And Eric, we're happy to follow up with you directly to give you an overview of this platform as well. And then Patrick,
Right.
I see one from Brad asking about the kind of commercial available maps and GIS.
Yeah, so right now we're using our Mapbox solution to be able to populate the maps. We're not integrating with customers' GIS database systems right now. But that's something that could be looked at in the future potentially. But I'd like to understand more about the use case for that. And so, I can send my contact information if you'd like to send me some more information on that so we could gather some more details for sure.
And Brad, I can definitely see some advantages here that we talk about a lot internally. Items like being able to import your KML or KMZ overlay data to have your center line prominently displayed on your field data collection device and inside of the Survey Manager application. So this is something that we talk about and is on a pretty big open idea that's on our future roadmap. So we definitely need more feedback, and always, again, I just want to make sure, and Patrick believes this too, this is built by and for corrosion professionals. So anything that we're doing is because we have gotten feedback, because we are trying to think about how we can make your lives easier around the field, either from a management perspective or for a technician. So please don't ever hesitate to provide us with constructive feedback, because these are for you. And that's one of Patrick's main responsibilities, is making sure this is meeting the needs of our end users.
Absolutely. Let's see. It looks like, is there any more? I don't think there's any more questions in the chat that I see. Anyone have anything else before we close out?
So Michael Talley was asking if we can export CSV from Survey Manager. So the answer is yes, but it's with the CI, DCVG, and kind of the ECDA data. What you're looking at on this screen is your periodic survey data that's driven by PCS. So this is the only side reporting for, annual and periodics is going to be out of PCS, but you can report directly CSV, PDF of all your ECDA data. So CI, DCVG, et cetera, right out of Survey Manager live. So it kind of just depends on the data, but I can follow up with you directly, Michael, or Patrick can right after this meeting.
Sure thing. Yeah, I understand that, Michael. That's how you create CIS data bridge with that. So yeah, we can follow up more and have more conversations with you or Brad about that. I think there's definitely some, I'd like to gather some more information on that, what we could do in the future potentially.
All right. Well, we're at the top of the time here. So what we are going to do is Christiane's going to be sending out to all the attendees a PDF, which is an overview of this presentation, but it also gets into screenshot progressions of the things that Patrick talked about here, which will spark potentially some other questions. And please don't hesitate to reach out and make sure they're answering your questions to get the best use out of these tools to make your life easier. So I think with that, we just really want to appreciate your time and all the questions today at Virtual Brew. And we really look forward to not only seeing you October for October's Virtual Brew, but also would love to see you and love to see all the people that I know that are signed up who are here as well for our user group, which will get really deep into the technical best practices of all of our tools. And again, that's November 3rd through 7th in Austin, Texas.
Appreciate that, Justin. Thanks for everyone attending this morning. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. We can be happy to answer any questions after this as well. So thank you very much, everyone.